All right, if it's Monday night, that means only one thing. It's the RCWR Show Live. It's your host right here, Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders. Thank you all so much for joining us as we're covering fallout from tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw for July 21st, 2014. As always on Monday nights, I don't fly alone. I am with my broadcast partner. You may know his work from such promotions as Vendetta Pro Wrestling, Primo's Wrestling, All Pro Wrestling. He was also one of the final participants in the TNA online gut check competition. It's my good pal, the one and only Titus Machiavelli. Mr. Machiavelli, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. You know, back-to-back nights for us. We do pay-per-view, and then we follow up with a pretty good Raw. So I'm pretty jacked up right now.
Yeah, you know, speaking of that Battleground post show, we got to give it up to those that not only checked us out on YouTube, but you guys checked the downloadable episode on Spreaker, iTunes, Blog Talk. Titus, I was checking out the numbers earlier today, and like just combined, I'm like, wow, you know, this is really good, especially on Spreaker. I got to definitely give that shout out to those of you that's checking us out more on Spreaker, as y'all are familiar with our Blog Talk Radio server problems. But yeah, you guys represented, and hey, it's great to be back talking some more wrestling, man. As always, we want to get you guys involved. You know what to do. Post those comments down below. You can interact with us also on Twitter. Hit up Titus on Evil Genius Titus on Twitter. You can also hit us up at the RCWR show. We'll definitely peek our heads in between the time that we're on the air, see what you guys have to say and all that. God, I don't even know where I want to begin. You know, first things first, we ended on a cliffhanger, Titus, last night. I guess before we can really dive into Raw, I got to pick your brain on this 54 going on 55-year-old rookie that appears to have joined the WWE, Steve Borden, a.k.a. Sting.
Well, you know, it depends on what report you want to believe, and, you know, I'm not a big fan of internet wrestling news sites, but, you know, the talk is that he hasn't yet signed a contract with WWE. His contract's with 2K Sports, but the fact that Sting is actually, you know, being promoted, T-shirts are being sold, and if you watch the network, you see his face a little bit more on different things that are doing. It's a good thing. I'm an old WCW fan from way back. I think it's a great opportunity to share with my 10-year-old son the guy who was, you know, the poor man's Hulk Hogan back in the 80s, basically. Sting was an incredible performer at his best and an essential part of that whole NWO. So I'm excited about it. I want to see him in there. I want to see Taker and Sting, but only if Taker can, you know, bring one more match the way we expect him to do. Otherwise, I would rather not. But I'm very excited about Sting, and I hope that reports are that he is going to sign. Looks pretty good. Put him in the Hall of Fame, and close his career out on a very positive note. I think in front of, you know, WrestleMania, it'd be the biggest crowd he's ever been in front of. Some 80,000 plus people.
I'm glad that we're talking about Sting, and folks that feel we're kind of way off base, trust me, there's a really good transition that we're going to make from Sting into tonight's Raw, and it's a very good reason why we're talking about Sting off the break. Titus, I don't know if you had checked out the article on WWE.com, but I thought it was very interesting, and folks, we'll talk a little bit more about it on our radio edition of the RCWR show, but as soon as all this friendly drama is the best way I can put it with regards to Sting and his association with the WWE came about, WWE posted this article about 5 dream matches that they would like to see happen with Sting if it could actually happen in real life. And one of them was about John Cena. And it's so funny because I just paid no mind to that. And it's not, well, y'all know I don't really like John Cena. You know, I prefer the ruthless aggression John Cena, the doctor of thugonomics, old school John Cena, as opposed to what we've been getting over the past several years. But I have nothing personal against the man outside of the WWE, all the work that he's done. But it's so funny, Titus, hearing what the WWE staff wanted with regards to seeing this dream match. They tried to justify it, and then I thought it was even more interesting seeing some of the comments that had came in from last night, as some of the people were like, well, you know, maybe with regards to Sting, maybe he's option C that Paul Heyman is talking about. People were like, maybe it's going to be Sting that's going to be brought in. Oh, that is a dream match. Now, just pause right there. Titus and I, we're definitely older. Titus, you probably have me beat by maybe about, you know, because I'm 33 going on 34. You probably have me beat by what, maybe about 10 years, maybe a little more?
6.5.
Okay, that ain't too bad. That ain't too bad. But we're still kind of like in the same age range.
Right.
Like, I think it's safe to say that, I don't know for you, Titus, but for me, that's not a dream match. You know, for me, a dream match, if I'm looking at the current WWE roster right now, okay, if I'm looking at it right now, for me, a dream match is, okay, I got Sting. Okay, let me see him take on the Undertakers. Let me see him take on the Shawn Michaels. Let me see him take on the Triple H's. Let me see him maybe, God, if it was maybe 5 years before, a younger Vince McMahon, you know, let me see all those type of combinations. Let me see Sting take on Hulk Hogan. Hogan says he's got one more match in him. Okay, well, let me see that. Nowhere on my list am I saying, oh, this would be a great dream match, John Cena versus Sting. No disrespect to John Cena, but I don't know. I just don't see that. And then what do you say to little Jimmy? 5 years old and all that. What, little Jimmy is supposed to appreciate a guy like Sting? Jimmy doesn't know anything about Sting. So if Jimmy's only grown up on John Cena and you give him some new guy called Sting, little Jimmy's going to be like, Daddy, Mommy, Daddy, who's this? Who's this? He's got face paint on. Is he a clown? Who is he? And then you got to go through the whole lesson. Well, Junior, sit on my lap, and I'll tell you the story about the man they call Sting. That's not a dream match. I'm sorry.
Well, I couldn't agree with you less. See, the great thing about the John Cena versus Sting is you have the dream of today's era versus yesterday's era. The same sort of matchup you had when you had The Rock and Hogan back at, you know, WrestleMania, oh my God, that long ago. It's just two eras collide. And bringing little Jimmy onto your knee and say, let me tell you about the man called Sting, is what I'm doing already. I'm educating my son to know wrestling, because all they know is John Cena. All they know is Randy Orton. They need to know that Cowboy Bob Orton was at the first WrestleMania. They need to know, you know, the history of the WWF. If we're going to go back that far, we're going to talk about WCW, talk about NWA, we're going to talk about UWF, AWA, WCCW. We got to tell them about what wrestling was, because they can't appreciate today without looking at yesterday. Everybody who says that Kobe Bryant and LeBron James is the greatest ever, you got to pull them aside and say, watch this guy from Chicago and watch how he plays. That's the great thing about having Sting versus John Cena. Now, the problem with the matchup is Cena isn't the best worker in the world. He excels when he has somebody, CM Punk, brought him up to that next level. Sting is going to be 55 years old. He's not the same worker he was just 5 years ago. So I'm not sure the matchup will work, in the sense that I don't think Sting can elevate John Cena to that next level like he's capable of doing. And of course, right now people are disagreeing with me. Cena sucks. But truth is, he's put on some fantastic matches when he's given the right opponent, and that goes for anybody, anywhere, unless you're one of the very best, like Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat and so forth. So I like the matchup personally, but the matchup is always going to be Sting and Undertaker. But again, I think it's at least 5 years too late.
I'm glad we talked about this, because now I can appreciate the argument that you made about, you know, the father and the son. You know, it's like, for the father, they grew up on Sting, so they get it, and the fact that they're educating the kid on it, because the kid is high off the John Cena's, the Zack Ryders and all that. It is kind of bringing the family / generations together for a matchup like that to happen. But yeah, I agree with you. I think John Cena's past that right now. It really wouldn't do him. If anything, why not Sting and Roman Reigns maybe? Titus?
I got stuck on mute. I'm sorry. I got a little messed up there. Technical difficulties over at Titus Industries. I'm sorry, Lee. I lost you. What did you say?
I said, what about, for a guy to really take a good rub off of that, what about maybe a guy like Roman Reigns taking on Sting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At this point, Sting comes in for legacy building reasons. He comes in to cement the end of his career, get the Hall of Fame ring, get the Legends deal, do the 6 DVD set of the life of Sting before Dixie ruined him. And that's what so the opportunity to have him go against a Seth Rollins or a Roman Reigns or Dean Ambrose. And in truth, I think that Seth Rollins could actually do what I was talking about a moment ago. He could actually elevate Sting's ability up a little bit. He can cover for some of the slowness, cover for some of the degradation of his abilities. Seth Rollins would be a great opponent for him. They match up really well in the sense of style. And, again, yeah, you're right. The rub that he would get off of that victory would really elevate him to a whole other level. I don't think Roman Reigns needs that. He's going to get his rub off the current generation with John Cena. And, of course, I don't think Dean Ambrose needs anything. That man is on fire right now.
Yes, he is. He is. But, to you people that were kicking back saying, oh, well, Sting's going to be showing up tonight. He's going to be option C. Boy, were you way off, my friends.
Oh, my favorite was that, option C was CM Punk, which, of course, we know that CM Punk wasn't there. He was at the AP Music Awards tonight in Cleveland. And just to get this said as we lead into Raw, we don't need any more CM Punk chants. Quite clear tonight, CM Punk said he is never coming back to WWE. So let's let the rest. That is what he had. I'm looking at that breaking news here. Is he said he will never be back in WWE.
Ooh.
So it's over. He's done. Let's move on. Phil Brooks is a retired professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Married, has a girl, has his wife who's a professional wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
He's moved on. So, but speaking of Monday Night Raw, I'm actually jacked up for Monday Night Raw tonight. It was a really good Raw. Big deal coming off of the pay-per-view. You have to be able to bring it after the pay-per-view. And a good pay-per-view, as we talked about last night. And if you didn't hear that, shame on all of you. Go back to our episode from last night, listen to it, and you'll hear all of my intelligent talking about that. But I love the way the show opened, Lee. I mean, the show opened up so... It was as if they listened to us a little bit last night. Triple H was on point with his promo to start the show.
My God, you talk about mocking the WWE Universe. Triple H talking about how maybe him and his friend Mark are going to get together and they're going to stop watching the WWE product. Triple H talking about how he, maybe I'm going to get on social media. Maybe I'm going to tweet in 140 characters or less my frustrations about what it was that I had watched last night. I mean, it was very obvious that there were a lot of people. I mean, I know you probably saw some of the comments. We saw a little bit of the social media activity earlier today by one person, I guess we'll call Mark, who really was just, battleground this, battleground that, this didn't happen, this should have happened, this. And I mean, Triple H just hit all those buttons.
And
so
he didn't
beautifully.
direct it. He didn't direct it at the WWE Universe. He directed it specifically at the IWC. And you know who you are, and you're part of that internet wrestling community. The guys are on the different websites posting how it should be. And I think you're absolutely right to tell you how it should be, as long as you are buying the merchandise, paying for the network. And if you really want to see how great your wrestling show should be, buy your own show and do it yourself. But I thought it was fantastic. And for you, again, part of my job in this show is to open the curtain a little bit and show you in the back. The fact that he said he and his friend Mark was very, very specific, because that's a term that we use in this business for those people who chant CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk when AJ Lee is out wrestling a match. That's a mark. That's an uber fan, over the top, and I love the fact that he used it was specific. He could have said one of a billion other names. He used the word Mark, and I almost died laughing when he said that. Great opening for sure.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, I just got to put this out there. One of the people that had hit me up, he said something along the lines of, yeah, well, that's all fine and dandy, but we're laughing ourselves off because the WWE Network isn't doing that well, and the stocks continue to drop, and as a result of that, they're going to have to give themselves a reality check. So try to basically counter what Triple H had said. And it's like, first off, and I couldn't wait to say this, first off, you should not want for there to be failure with a wrestling promotion, especially a wrestling promotion that you grew up watching. A true wrestling fan, a true WWE fan that grew up on the product, and they got hooked onto the product by their dad, and their dad got hooked onto the product by their grandpa, etc. You're not going to say stuff like that. You're going to be as neutral as possible. At least that's what I would hope. You're going to look at the bitter, you're going to mix it with the sweet, and you're going to say, okay, you know what, I can see what's happening right here. Hopefully at the end of the rainbow or at the end of the finish line, this is what's going to happen. You should never wish for a company's demise. My friends, I love you guys tremendously, but if you feel that passionate about a promotion to the point that you want for it to fail so that, oh, well, as a result of them failing, maybe this will give them the reality check that they need to try to rebuild. Well, my friend, if they end up falling on their back and they go out of business, who said that they're going to be able to come back? You know what I'm saying? So you shouldn't really wish that. Instead, you should just be like, this is what I can't stand the most, Titus. I can't stand people that goes, WWE sucks. And I go, why does WWE suck? WWE sucks because Cena sucks. And it's like, okay, make a legitimate argument about why the product sucks, and don't just make 1,000 freaking bullet points about why the promotion sucks. Be like, this is what I'm noticing. If they did this instead, I would be happy. Perfect example, and I want to throw the ball to you after this. The WWE Network. We hear so many people say, the WWE Network sucks because... Okay, why does it suck? Well, the WWE Network sucks because, you know, the streaming and this and that, there's not enough content. And okay, so other than complaining, what would you like to see WWE do with the network? You know, it's like, offer constructive criticism. I'm quite sure if WWE, and I'm hoping they do this in the near future with regards to the WWE Network, August is coming up. A lot of us, Titus, you and me included, we signed up for that WWE Network at the start of launch. We are going to be free to say, you know what, not that impressed with the WWE Network, bye-bye. Okay? They've got to do some serious, okay, look, here's a survey. Here's your options. We came up with a gazillion. Tell us what you want. We'll listen. We'll take it into great consideration. Titus, they do it with their DVDs all the time. You know, but I'm getting a little sick and tired of people always just complaining, and it's like, one guy says, Cena sucks, I can't stand him, we've been getting the same crap for 10 years, it's infuriating. Well, you know what? Welcome to the modern era of Triple H. That's what I have to tell you. Now, you know how me and Titus felt during those years that we saw Triple H whooping everybody's ass left and right for, like, what was that, Titus, like 2 years straight?
It was much longer than that, because he's like a 13-time WWE, champion. And it goes to a couple of things. First off, for the network, let's talk about the content. Every pay-per-view ever. Ever. So that alone can give you a year's worth of watching by itself. I love watching Legends of Wrestling. I actually enjoyed Legends House. There's a lot of stuff on there. So let's start there. Plenty of content to watch. Secondly, if they threw every last piece of content on the network, eventually in the very near future, the whole thing would be there's nothing new on there. They have to stagger it. It has to be. Okay? So, and honestly, I haven't had last night, a couple little flips during the pay-per-view, nothing too serious. That's, it's going to work out a little bit better and better and better. I haven't seen a lot of issues. But from a business standpoint, let's talk business for a second, because the overwhelming number of people listening and not listening aren't from a business perspective. All right? This is what I'm talking about. This is my expertise, is the business world. On a business standpoint, having them, go out of business is a bad thing. Absolutely. But if you listen to the crowd yell, half the crowd yells, Cena sucks. What does the other half say, Lee?
Let's go Cena.
So if I tell you we're going to retire Cena tomorrow, we're done with him, you're right. Well, that means half the fans are going to be upset. So first and foremost, there is nothing that can be done that can make everybody happy. Do you think every single person in Cleveland is happy LeBron James is coming home? Oh, I'm sure. I've seen tweets. No, they're not. Screw him. I don't want to go. But yet they sold out in 8 minutes the season tickets. So half the people are happy, other half aren't. You're not going to be happy with everything that happens. All right? Yeah, it's the era of Cena. But you know what? Hulk Hogan held the WWF title for 4 years. Do you think people were tired of that?
Mm-hmm.
Triple H seemed to go over on everybody. That was the thing 10 years ago. Oh, he squashes this guy. He squashes that guy. It's the same argument. Just insert the next star. It was said about Hogan. It was said about Triple H. It was said about The Rock that he had only a handful of moves. People's elbow that, the people. Come on, who wins a match with a people's elbow? For crying out loud. A one little elbow wins a match, but people now look back and they lament about how wonderful it was. Not at the time, because you were yelling, Rocky sucks at that time. So I'm done with the bullcrap. I'm done with it. It is the product. All right? Unless you are, unless you're 100% supporting it, you really shouldn't be talking about it. I 100% support it. I pay my $10 a month for the network. I've bought every single pay-per-view for the last decade. I buy merchandise. I buy stuff for my kids. You can say what you want to say if you're fully supporting it. What really ticks me off are those guys who download the stuff illegally, don't buy the pay-per-views, don't buy the network, don't buy the T-shirts, and says this sucks.
Yeah.
Well, then you got no say-so. Same guy who doesn't vote and says, I hate the president. Well, you didn't vote.
Exactly.
But that was the Triple H gave a little bit of a stick to the internet wrestling community in some ways, which led to Roman Reigns coming out. Actually, Orton coming out and Kane coming out claiming that they were going to be the rightful heir to take on John Cena at SummerSlam. Roman Reigns came out, and what I like about Roman Reigns is that he is almost a tween as a fan favorite. He comes out and says nobody wants to see Randy Orton. Nobody wants to see Kane take on John Cena. Crowd booed. We were all in agreement with that. Nobody wants to see John Cena and Randy Orton again.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice point there. Again, because we've seen it 727 times.
Yeah.
We want to see John Cena and Roman Reigns, and the crowd was quite loud about that. You're gonna get that. You're probably gonna get that at WrestleMania. I want to see it at WrestleMania. I don't want to see it sooner. I want to see it on the grand stage of them all, But then, of course, that led to a fair match. Tonight was a little bit about uneven matches, I think, in some ways. Kane and Orton versus Roman Reigns. Lee, what are your impressions of that match?
Once again, they're putting the spotlight there on Roman Reigns. It's so funny, too, because we were talking about this last night. What did I say, Titus? I said, so what's next for Roman Reigns? Does he take on Randy Orton and Kane over the next several weeks in singles matches, or does he give both of them? I did say that. And it's so funny that here we are. Yeah. We see him in a handicap match, right? And it's like, whoa, what are the odds? I love the fact that the way it's kind of looking right now, it looks as though maybe Kane is going to be gravitating to Randy Orton, because Randy Orton just slithered his way out of the action there when he saw it was becoming too much, just leaving his boy Kane right there to take the devastating spear. Roman Reigns picks up the victory, and I like that little tease right there of Randy Orton, Roman Reigns. It's almost kind of the impression I got was we're going to see that matchup, just maybe not at SummerSlam. I'm kind of led to the impression that maybe we're going to see Kane and Randy Orton go at it at SummerSlam, and I don't know if the fans.
The end of Raw, I think, really shows that it's going to be Reigns and Orton, based upon how the ending went. But it could go either way.
It could, yeah, it could. But that was another dominant performance there by Roman Reigns. I got to pick your brain on this. I'm already hearing people say Roman Reigns will probably end up becoming like John Cena, and it's like, OMG, the man hasn't even won a championship belt yet. Can you just sit on your hands and wait this out? I mean, damn, why are we jumping 9 months, 12 months ahead?
Oh, they're jumping 10 years ahead. That's the thing. Oh, he's already going to have too many title runs, and the dude hasn't even had but one singles main event. Let the man have a, Yeah, the argument is the loudest are the ones that get most of the play, and it goes to the body type. People want the Daniel Bryans and the CM Punks to be the stars. I get that. It's a little bit more of that reality era. It looks more real than these giant big guys. However, the smaller guys have a harder time dealing with the physicality. I mean, Daniel Bryan is beat the hell up, and that's a legitimate deal. And, it takes a toll on your body. So a bigger guy's going to be able to do it a little bit better. That, I think, the argument on Roman Reigns is that he is, a quote-unquote carbon copy of Cena, the Triple H, Hulk Hogan. It's just that same old same, just a different name. But he brings something that you don't. Name me one other WWE superstar ever to use a Superman punch in a match. I mean, I think that's a unique move. It's a unique. It's one of those moves that can come out of anywhere, and I love those style of moves. The Stone Cold Stunner, the Sweet Chin Music. Those are kind of moves that can just happen in a blink of an eye and change the direction of a match. That's a really cool move for him to use. I'm big on this kid, and I think I've said that pretty hard in this show.
Yeah. How about we might as well bundle this right here. Stephanie McMahon, Brie Bella, Nikki Bella. Oh, my God. I mean, insane, folks. I mean, we see Brie Bella, once again, she's being put in a handicap match, and I actually had to put Jerry Lawler on the spot in a tweet, because as Raw was going to a commercial break, Jerry Lawler, you hear him say, oh, my God, this is like the biggest match that we've ever seen. Brie taking on 4 divas. And it's like, Jerry Lawler, hello, 3 weeks ago, we saw Brie in a handicap match against 6 divas on SmackDown. So, on the one hand, some people look at SmackDown as the show that you can skip because pretty much it's nothing but like,
I do.
It's like 45 minutes worth of footage you've seen from earlier in the week and like 2 recycled matches, maybe 2 new matches, but yet we're constantly reminded on Raw, well, SmackDown was number 1 again for the 7th consecutive week, thanks to you. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, but yeah, we saw Brie take on the 6 divas in a handicap match a couple of weeks back, So it's like, okay, Dre Lawler, come on, get it right, man. Come on, be consistent here, man. Come on now. But then we see this match, and we saw an exclusive during the WWE that Brie had a surprise, and that surprise was her sister Nikki, who was in attendance.
Reverse that out. It's Nikki was in the match and Brie was in attendance.
Well, did I get that mixed up?
You got your Bellas mixed up.
Wait, so Brie's
the one that quit. That's Dana Bryan's wife.
Oh, okay, Brie. Yeah, Brie. Yeah, so we got that.
Sorry,
now.
not to correct you.
Nah, I like being corrected, man. Sometimes I mess up and afterwards I get corrected, and when we're off the air, and it's like, oh, so no, I like it. I love the fact that Stephanie and Nikki, they kind of went head to head right there, as Stephanie Mac's like, what the hell are you doing here? It's like, and then Nikki just shows the ticket, and it's like, okay, yeah, cool.
Sit your ass down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we came out the non-PG, you bitch. And then, of course, the guy sitting next to
Priceless Face
had Priceless Face. He is memed all over the internet for the rest of his life. Poor guy. But it led to Stephanie slapping Brie, and yours truly said, wait a minute, you can't hit a fan. Because that's who it is. That's a fan.
Yeah.
And later on, since we're going to bundle this whole thing, well, Nikki gets her ass handed to her by the four divas. And I use that word divas very lightly because you had Cameron, Rosa Mendez, Alicia Fox, and Eva Marie. So there was like a diva in combined of those four. But Nikki loses the match. But later on, after Flo Rida does his thing.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, jeez, God almighty. But Stephanie McMahon was doing the announcing for that, and as John Layfield's talking, he's distracted, and there are two Miami-Dade police officers or detectives talking to Mrs. McMahon, and Lee, what else happened?
Well, folks, we saw the beautiful and the lovely Lady in Red, Stephanie McMahon, get arrested right there on the spot. She was charged with battery, and we saw her get taken to the backstage area where she was getting ready to get into a unmarked squad car, looked like a civilian vehicle or whatever. Whole time I'm saying, where's Triple H? I need to see Triple H right here, because I was getting a little nervous. I'm like, come on now, this is
my wife. I'd be out there,
I'm like, come on now, this is a good storyline. Those little pieces of detail. Let's go there. Finally, we see Triple H. What's going on? What's going on? And I love how Stephanie was just starting to bawl her eyes out as she gets put into the car. She's just driven away, and so Triple H, he's trying to just get the lawyers together and all that. And I love how apparently this lawyer is named Jimmy. I thought that was kind of funny. I was waiting for R-Truth to pop up at some point and talk to Triple H about that. How about the little cameo there by Joey Mercury, though?
Joey Mercury got some. Yeah. He was trending there for a few minutes. He's now Triple H's bitch. Apparently, but hey, he's got a gig. He has a job, and he doesn't have to worry about wearing that face mask anymore. Although you never know with Triple H around. But yeah, Triple H is going to go head down there, and Joey Mercury says, what about the opponent for John Cena? And in Triple H, perfect character. They're gonna be processing her for a few minutes, aren't they? And they have to drive downtown and. Keep the car running. We got to take care of business. That is so Triple H in so perfect character, and it should have gone that way. For him to just leave, that wasn't best for business. But I got it. Best segment on Raw in I don't know how long. Definitely, probably in my opinion, unless I'm standing corrected by somebody. It's one of the best segments, if not the best segment of this year. It was just, there was no mics, it was just a single camera shot. Stephanie didn't address it was all off camera, so to speak. Stephanie is so good at selling that heel character. It was great. Applaud to her. She has put herself in the mix. She got thrown in the mud. She's gotten, arrested. That's the stuff that Vince did to get the show over. And that's the thing that made Vince so good at what he was he pissed himself when Stone Cold Steve Austin put a gun to his head, which was not a real gun, but, embarrassing himself for the product. Stephanie embarrasses herself for the product. Say what you will, but awesome segment. Well done. Bravo. I loved it.
She's really been stepping up. I mean, you see what she's been doing with the Bellas, and then you saw briefly there what she was doing with the Divas, trying to ruffle their feathers a little bit. You saw what she did with Vicky Guerrero. I mean, she's really been coming to her own more as a character as of late. So freaking underrated. I don't really think she gets enough props as it is. I know so many people want to focus on another lady in another promotion who's supposedly going to be going through a table shortly, but Stephanie needs to really get her props. I agree with you 100%. I was thinking about the last time I had just a total mark-out moment other than tonight seeing that particular segment go down, which was just ingenious. What about Raw Baltimore old school, seeing Jake the Snake Roberts return? Even though the Baltimore crowd messed it up, that was definitely a really good mark-out moment.
Yeah, for sure. And that was on a totally different level because it was the old school night. But yeah, you're right. Absolutely. That is obviously the moment of the year still. But storyline-wise, I was worried. I'd said, you don't. She's a fan. She throws the ticket up. You can't hit the fan. And kudos to the creative team for thinking full circle that, we can have this happen, but we've got to bring it around again. She struck a fan. Let's, have Stephanie. I mean, it was just well thought out. And so often we worry about and we complain about things that don't, quote unquote, make sense. This made sense.
Do you feel that with the way this is going right now, this is going to prompt a Vince McMahon, Linda McMahon cameo to basically say to Triple H and Stephanie, what the hell are you guys doing? This never happened on our watch. What are you doing?
It really could. I think more than likely, though, it's going to lead to Stephanie lacing up the boots at SummerSlam. We're going to see Stephanie in action. We're not going to see Triple H apparently. Does Vince get involved? I don't know if you see Vince McMahon on TV anymore in the character of Mr. McMahon. I think he's really started that. It's now the era of Stephanie and Hunter, but maybe so. And if it's done the right way, where it's not the focus is on him, but I think it'll just be Stephanie. Unsanctioned or whatever it will be. You beat me, you get your job back. If you lose, your husband's fired.
The Mr. McMahon character just isn't what it used to be. You remember, what was it, like around 2006, I think it was, maybe 2005, McMahon's Millions? It kind of seemed like once McMahon got into the limo and the limo exploded, to me it kind of seemed like the true evil genius, the true evil...
Easy now.
Okay, oh yeah, let me back up there. It seemed like the Mr.
Gimmick
McMahon...
infringement.
I know, right? It seemed like the Mr. McMahon character officially died that night when that limo exploded.
Yeah, I think that was in that era. That area is where he started to. His last great thing, I think, was the Battle of the Billionaires. That was the last great Vince McMahon moment. I think he was in his best at that point. There have been moments of brilliance, but there also have been moments like the call in for the $1 million where he screwed up the phones and all that. Vince is 60s, later 60s.
He's about to hit 70.
70.
He should be 70 now. If not, he should be getting ready to.
And let's just be honest. I mean, he's almost 70, and things start to slip a little, and it's Stephanie's show, and it's Hunter's show, and it should be. So I don't think he shows up too much, and if he does, it's not going to be Mr. McMahon. It's just going to be Vince.
Are we officially seeing a rift between Triple H and Stephanie? I mean, you got a nice little cliffhanger for next week where Stephanie can go, where the hell were you, Hunter?
Yeah, it could put a little fracture into them. I think you're going to see these two be just tight for a while. I think it does make a fracture, but I don't think anything that it's too early in the storyline of the Authority to do anything and separate the two, even if it's temporarily. I think it's too early in that.
I don't know, man. Spidey sense is tingling. I'm getting this itch that maybe something's going to just implode between these two, and we're going to see the rosters get divided. You're either with Team Stephanie or you're with Team Triple H, and to kind of follow up on what you were saying last night, maybe we might see some type of a war game stable with the team captains representing both of those parties.
I hope not, because that puts the focus on Stephanie and Triple H, and we already have a lot of talent not getting enough camera time.
Ain't that the truth? Talk about, that's a good segue, too.
I know, I set you up.
That's a good segue, because you talk about too much camera time. How about Zack Ryder there? Once again, he was in a spot there against, who's that guy, Fandango?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bingo was his baby-o.
Yeah, I mean...
And Zack Ryder won for the first time since 2012 on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, how about that?
You know?
What? It's the end of the world, man. I mean, Zack Ryder wins on Monday Night Raw. I mean...
The night that Triple H puts a knife in the heart of the IWC and calls them all marks.
Yeah.
Their internet darling, the internet champion himself, not only gets on Raw, but he gets a victory. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Very bizarre. What's the end game for Fandango, though? I mean, is he eventually going to get these two girls back and he's going to have a menage a trois? Well, what the hell is the end game?
The end game, I think, is... I don't know. I think they're going to find a full-time partner for him, but I don't know. I think the whole act of Fandango has kind of lost its allure, it was fun for a while. It was fun after WrestleMania in New York, but now it's kind of like, okay, well, no one's fandangoing anymore.
Do you think the answer in him getting a nice revitalization might come in the form of Prince Pretty? That would be an interesting stable.
I think we're going to have enough stables after we saw Xavier Woods tonight. What
the hell was up with that? I mean,
that's the Dr. Xavier X Woods Malcolm. Is it the new Nation of Domination? I don't know. I'm interested. I'm interested by all means. But let's see where it goes. I'd like to see Kofi Kingston as a heel. I think Kofi could do some good work as a heel, and it could really benefit the same way The Rock benefited with the Nation of Domination. He could really benefit from the rub in a faction. Somebody always explodes in a career in a faction, and it's not going to be Xavier Woods. I think Big E Langston is too one-dimensional. I think Kofi's got a lot of upside. So I think it's to be good for Kofi if this little heel faction that may be growing comes out.
How about that highlight reel there? I mean, they were hyping this up during the Raw pre-show, which was a really good pre-show, by the way. It seems like Booker T and Alex Riley are having a lot of fun.
I thought they were having too much fun. I thought it was all about goofing off and pushing a 35% discount on T-shirts.
Yeah.
And actually having... I honestly, I disagree. I think it was a terrible pre-show.
What?
And absolutely terrible. I think the pre-show has gone completely down the toilet since the release of Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews was a stable person there. He's able to keep people online, be able to keep people lined up with questions. It felt different. It wasn't the studio. The studio thing sucks. The live event, even if they don't put him out in the crowd, they do the live event maybe in the gorilla position out in back someplace. But you got to get him out of this. It almost looks like a fake studio. It almost looks like a green screen to me. That's in my honest opinion. How did these guys get from doing pre-show at the pay-per-view last night? Did they fly up to Connecticut to do? I think it's green screen. That's my own opinion. But it was terrible. It was Booker T can't keep it straight. He's just like he did like 3 or 4 times tonight. That's not how you have a pre-show. Right? Come on, let's have a real pre-show. Let's just have a guy who's a journalist who's going to sit there and lead a conversation. Let's get a real analyst. Let's get Alex Riley. He's never won crap. How is he the analyst? And Booker T should take that heel role and really run with it as the heel guy, but be a little bit more legit. I'm just take it off the air if that's what it's going to be. Boy, did I shoot on that, didn't I?
I will say this. I will agree with you to a certain extent. Byron Saxton, is that his name?
Yeah.
He does seem like he's not able to take control. That is one thing I will admit. When it came to Josh Matthews, he kept control. He controlled the pace, the tone of it. I will admit that, because Byron just looks like he's totally out of his element. He just looks like, what am I supposed to say now? How do I, it just seems like he's having a difficult time making the transition to having the guys stay on track. And it's to the point that you forget who's really the host of the show, because they're saying that he got promoted. He's the new pre-show kickoff guy or whatever, but it doesn't seem like that. It seems like Alex Riley and Booker T are the hosts.
Byron Sachs is just happy to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just happy to be here on TV. That's where Josh Matthews came out and really made it feel like even the glasses he was wearing, and it just felt like a real NFL Studios Today type of show. It felt more legit to me. But
has he said anything on Twitter yet? I know when he was released, he was pretty quiet there. I haven't seen it.
I tried to tag him in a tweet, and I couldn't find one. So I don't know if his Twitter is there or not. I couldn't find it.
Some homework there. Speaking of brothers and all that, message to WWE, please do not have a rap artist ever appear again on an episode of Monday Night Raw. I mean, if you are, can you do me a favor? Don't recycle WrestleMania 28 music. I mean, we see Flo Rida and this hoochie-looking girl come out and, oh, I got the feeling. And I couldn't help but say to myself, yeah, I got the feeling too. I got the feeling to grab my remote and change the damn channel because this sucks. And to prove my point, this is what I don't understand. And I've been to enough live concerts. Titus, I'm sure you've probably had your share of live concerts. You go see your favorite artist, they don't have their freaking song playing, and you hear their vocals, and they're basically overdubbing themselves. It's like, wait a minute. All right, so are we listening to a live performance, or are we just supposed to listen to the music? What's the whole point of the guy that's scratching behind the turntable, and he's got the whole computers? What's the point of him being out there if you guys aren't doing it literally raw? When I hear raw, I think of Monday Night Raw. I think of something that is just natural, that is just organic, that is just, here, it's fresh, take it for what it's worth, not some freaking dub crap. I couldn't get into that for anything. I love how he kept trying to pump up the crowd, and they're just kind of looking there like, Yay! The priceless looks, in particular, on the white people's faces.
There was a really cute blonde in a Hulkamania T-shirt. That was what I can take from the Flo Rida or Flo whatever.
That was bad.
It was bad. And my question is, what did that cost?
Exactly.
That pisses me off
Yeah.
because one of the biggest faux pas that an indie wrestling promoter can do, and it's applicable to the WWE or TNA, is to go and drop $500, $600, $700, $800 on a band. If you're gonna bring in somebody for $1,000, bring in a big star, let him get put a rub on your champion, put him over, but not on a band or some musical. WWE had to spend some money to have Flo Rida out there because it's Miami. He's Miami. He didn't do it for free. I don't see that. And you got guys who got let go a few weeks ago because of quote unquote budget concerns, and you're dropping 25 G's probably to have Flo Rida come karaoke in a segment that made no sense.
You 11 to 14 WWE superstars, we're sorry, but times are so tough. You understand how it is. The economy, just things aren't working too good right now. But stay in touch. Yeah, Flo Rida, you think you can show up next week?
Crazy, right?
I mean, I would have settled for, going back to the highlight reel. I know this has been done before, but just the fact that it hasn't been done in a good amount of years, it would have made it new to some people. But I would have preferred it if WWE would have said, hey, make sure you join us for an explosive edition of WWE Raw, because our musical guest is going to be Chris Jericho's own Fozzy. And Fozzy's performing their new hit single. I like how they did a nice little plug for Fozzy, by the way. Fozzy's new album, if you're in North America, it actually dropped right now as it's 12:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Outside North America had got first dibs the other day. But it's now available. Go check it out. I already got my copy. I'm going to be reviewing it probably later this week for you guys on YouTube. But I would have settled for a Fozzy performance, let them do like 2-3 sets, and somewhere midway into the third set or whatever, Bray Wyatt comes out. Honestly, I think that would have been a really great spot right there, because I'm wondering, okay, highlight reel, I'm saying to myself, there's no way this is going to happen. There's no way Chris Jericho is going to be able to come out and go, so Bray, tell me, how's it taste having your ass defeated by me, first ever undisputed champion? I knew that in some shape or form he wasn't going to make it to the highlight reel. It just seemed too obvious to me, Titus. So my whole thing was, why not make it go down with Fozzy performing? It just seemed a little bit more doable. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. And there were some reports earlier in the day that said that Chris Jericho wasn't even there. And it comes out after the date. Rumor was that they taped that last night. So that kind of makes you early in the show. Well, it's not going to happen. I don't even think Jericho is there. Yeah, they could have been a little bit better. But I got to tell you something. Bray Wyatt took that moment and delivered a phenomenal promo. Just a phenomenal promo. I saw some ignorant tweets, something about regurgitating the same promo week after week. Are you serious? His promo was 100% on point, original. It was a good promo, and you made a great tweet. All the damned whats. Why? Why you gotta what this guy during his tweet? Are you serious? He is delivering a great moment, a chance to really listen. This is a great Raw tonight. I mean, this is a 8.5, 8.75 Raw. This is a damn good Raw, and you have these moments that are just sort of ruined. It was a great promo. It really delivered the strength of the Bray Wyatt. I don't care that I've lost. Doesn't mean anything because it's a war. And that really goes to the whole, he doesn't have to win to win. And that's interesting to see how they're going to play that out over the next coming months with him.
It's just so nerve-wracking because what's really messed up is you can take a guy like Bray Wyatt, you can put him in the 80s, you can put him right alongside there with a Jake the Snake Roberts. And as a kid growing up, and I'm hearing the promos of Jake the Snake Roberts, and by the way, we got you a nice picture of him. Where's my finger? Right where my finger is. He's in a picture there with Andre the Giant, autographed, by the way. Good man right there. I love Jake the Snake Roberts. You could take a guy like Jake the Snake Roberts back in the 80s, and as a kid growing up, I just remember being all in front of the TV, just listening to what he was saying. Some of it I couldn't quite understand, but I was so captivated by this guy. And I see those same elements in a Bray Wyatt. And I mean, what makes it even more full circle, Jake the Snake Roberts is actually helping this guy with his promos. So for Jake the Snake to say, hey, you know what, I see something in this kid. I see a lot of me in him. Let me give him some tips or whatever. Whatever he's giving him, it's working very well, and I just wish that some WWE fans, just shut up. Enjoy it for what it's worth. If you're going to say what to a piss-poor segment. Say what to a Fandango match, and he's got his whole tricks or whatever. Summer Rae and Layla, they're doing their whole whatever that's boring. I don't know that many people that think that's entertaining.
I think you saved the what for what it was intended for, and that would be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, or that, yeah.
That's where that's where the whats come from. That's where the whats belong. Is when he's doing his, I had a Jack Daniels, what? 2 whiskeys, what? That's when you give him the whats, because that's what he did. That's where it belongs. It was sad, but it was a good promo. Really delivered the message of what the Wyatts are. I still think the WWE has a very serious problem with the Wyatts, and the problem goes down to the same problem they had with Bo Dallas, and we'll talk about Bo here in just a second. He is too over as a face. They've got to he gets no heat, and Bo Dallas is in the same boat. They're both heels. And they don't get heat. They get cheered and revered. And say what you will about The Miz. The Miz is an old school heel. The fact that people are throwing, their remotes at the TV is exactly what The Miz is supposed to do. He's supposed to make you hate him. That's the role of a heel. That's my job as the heel manager. Bray Wyatt is loved. Fans love him. He's not a heel. He's not getting any heat. He's actually got people. He put Chris Jericho in the role of the heel. People are actually more unhappy with Jericho about winning. So you got to get him. You got to get him some heat somehow. And I don't quite know how they're going to do that. That's the problem with Bray Wyatt right now, is he's not being used as a heel, and he should be a heel.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And, I got to bring up a question to you because we're talking about Bray Wyatt and all that. Somebody had brought up a very interesting comment from last night. And, Titus, I definitely want you to handle it because they said something about we're being inconsistent because, on the one hand, they said that they noted, we basically said with regards to Bray Wyatt losing to John Cena, we both were in agreement that in one of those times Bray Wyatt should have ultimately came out with the W. It didn't go down that way. And now because of what's happening with Bray Wyatt and Chris Jericho, basically we're being hypocrites because Bray Wyatt, it looks like to us, he's almost going to be in the doghouse. What's your rebuttal to that while I try to look up the actual comment?
I don't think I'm being inconsistent. Bray Wyatt should have beat John Cena at that last meeting and gotten that rub. he should have beat Chris Jericho last night as well. So I'm not being inconsistent in that aspect. He should be getting victories. I think it comes down to what storyline plans are for him. If there's something being done intentionally, it comes down to a knee-jerk reaction because they have him as a heel. He acts like a heel, but he doesn't. A heel does not walk up and say, Miami, we're here. You don't mention the name of the city because you're going to get a pop.
Right.
And when he mentions the name of the city, he gets a pop. That's just the way it works. That's why Mick Foley made a career out of saying, right here in Miami, Florida, because he got cheap pop. That's cheap. So when he mentions he's getting a pop, and he shouldn't be. So I don't know what the deal is with him. He's not working as a traditional heel. He's definitely not working as a face, and he's not a tweet. I don't know what his character is. It should be a heel, but he's so popular with a lot of the fans that he does some non-heel stuff. I don't know what they're doing with him, and he should be a monumental heel. And I just don't know where they're going with it. So I'm not trying to be inconsistent. Right. I think he should be getting pushed, and he's not, or he's not getting victories. And remember this whole thing. If you're counting wins and losses in pro wrestling, you've missed it. The whole point of it. It doesn't matter who won or lost when it comes down. Oh, he won. He's 27-1. We don't count wins and losses. But you want a guy to get some victories and have him look good, and he's looked good even in losses. I don't understand. Did you find that the tweet there? Or?
Yeah, I got it now. This comes from Anthony Smith, and if you feel you've answered it completely, then we'll move along. It's your call. But here's what he had to say, just so we can give him full credit. Part 1 of 2. Why are you guys saying Cena shouldn't have won against Wyatt? You guys were okay with Cena winning in the previous videos, ? Now that you see Wyatt is losing steam, not it was a mistake for Cena to win. The moment Wyatt got in a feud with Cena, it was done. He would go on to say, you guys said the Wyatt and Cena feud was good for Wyatt. It looks like you guys are actually... No, it looks like he's repeating himself. It's actually new. But now you see what happened when guys hit the Cena ceiling. You lose steam, and you get stuck in the mid-card. Wyatt is another Cena victim. Laugh out loud. Your rebuttal, Titus.
I don't have a rebuttal.
Nah? All right.
No,
Go ahead.
John Cena should have lost to Bray Wyatt. End of story. I can go back to the tweets and show you that. I can go back to he should have lost. He should have lost. Jericho should have lost last night. I'm 100% consistent. The whole Cena ceiling, I got nothing.
We try to be consistent as possible, but you know what? A lot happens when you're watching these wrestling shows on a week-to-week basis. And you know what? Forgive us if we decide that maybe we want to change our viewpoint on something. Case being, Titus, last night I told you passionately I can't stand The Miz, but what I saw of him tonight, what I saw of him at Battleground, but more so what I saw of him tonight against Dolph Ziggler, non-title matchup, his performance tonight, 5 stars all the way. Anybody that didn't watch Raw, yes, match of the night. Anybody that didn't watch it, you need to go out of your way, look that up on the Rebound, catch it online, wherever, man. But it's stuff like that, Titus. That's what made me fall in love with The Miz in the first place, because I remember rooting him on when he first came up the WWE roster, and he had the whole Real World attachment. I was like, oh yeah, I know that guy, Real World. Okay, yeah, I thought he was kind of cool. All right, he's a wrestler now. All right, awesome. And I followed his career. I relished in the moment when he became the WWE champion. My girlfriend was like, you love The Miz too much. I said, you're damn right. I love him. But it just kind of seemed like right after that WrestleMania match, Rock gets involved. It just seemed like it was a downhill little slope from there.
Completely derailed him.
Yeah, and now I'm really starting to appreciate him again because I'm reminded, like what I saw tonight, his great in-ring ability. The gimmick, I've seen it so many times before. To follow up on what you said last night, I'm agreeing with you. I think that something needs to happen with the whole Miz name. They need to drop it. A lot of what they're doing with the Miz's gimmick this go round, it's recycled. They're borrowing too many elements from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I dare say also they're borrowing a little bit of elements from Melina and John Morrison. You know, a lot of recycling that they're doing right there. They got to go.
But it's all working though. That's the great thing about this. The borrowing the gimmick from The Rock is The Rock is a major movie star, and The Miz is a major movie star in his own head. And that's the beauty of this whole thing, is that he thinks he's this major Hollywood star, and we all know he's not. And that's the beauty of, for me, it's the intelligence of the character. It works for him. He is bigger in his own mind than he really is. And is he a WWE champion in the future? No. No, I don't think he is. Is he an upper echelon mid-carder? Absolutely. He can run that mid-card very, very well. And I liked what I saw tonight. And again, Ziggler goes over. So we start the night with the IWC getting stabbed in the heart, and two of their darlings, the IWC, Ziggler and Zack Ryder, both end up with victories tonight. I'm concerned that the world is about to end, but nonetheless, great match though. It was a good match between the two of these guys. 5-star match. I had people tweeting me throughout the match saying, "Wow, that was really a better." Yeah, it was better than you thought. He matches. These guys match up very well together. They match up very well together, and
I'm hoping WWE really takes in what they saw tonight between these two guys, because honestly, I want to see them do it again. I want to see them do it at SummerSlam. I want to see them involved in a program.
I think we're going to get we had a taste of it tonight. I think we're going to see Sheamus. They alluded to it during the pre-show. They're going to have that unification. But high hopes. And Ziggler works the way he works tonight. I got no problem with Dolph Ziggler going further. He works like he did at the Battle Royal last night with that whole botch up with Sheamus. I'm not big on him, but he was very good tonight, and he had the crowd right where he wanted him.
Yeah, very good tonight, both of them. Honorable mention, Titus, you called it. AJ Lee, Paige, they defeated the team of Emma and Natalya. We gotta show some love to Natalya. That's one of our Twitter buddies. We haven't chatted it up with her in a good minute. Post-match, Titus, a little too soon for my blood, man, but I guess they're really trying to make sure SummerSlam's stacked. We finally saw Paige attack AJ Lee. How'd you enjoy the emotion she was displaying there?
I buy it. I believe her. I believe the character. That is the anti-diva, the anti-hero. That's what we thought we saw over in NXT. Simple as that. I have it written down on my notebook. I believe in her character. I did not believe in it beforehand. It seemed put on. It seemed fake. It seemed pushed. Like, you know, I want you to like me. I'm going to make you like me. And that was, I liked it. I liked it a lot. And it's a flip. AJ goes from being the crazy chick heel. She's going to be the face at this point. Loved it. I got nothing bad to say about it.
Same here, and honestly, to follow up on what we said last night, if anybody can really help get Paige to that next level, you know, as far as the character goes, not the in-ring ability, but just her character, you know, just getting those little imperfections down, working with AJ Lee is definitely going to do it. By the way, Titus, did you see any pictures of Caitlyn? I heard that she was in Miami visiting the WWE Superstars and Divas.
Yeah, I saw AJ had posted a picture of the two of them in embracing. It was she was there a lot tonight.
She still looking smoking hot, or did she get
just face shots that I saw?
Oh yeah.
Just selfies.
Just selfies. Other honorable mention, I guess. Oh God, I can't believe I almost forgot about this. Great Khali taking on Rusev. My God, they must have heard you make fun of Khali and decided to torture us tonight with another appearance by him.
Well, I was really disappointed in this match because Lana didn't talk too much. It was a very little Lana, but I think after all of the mains, and it was a lot. They got a lot of unwanted press, but if you ask Vince, I'm sure he loved it. A lot of unsavory comments today through the national media about the implication of the Malaysia flight. I said last night I was, you push it a little too far. They put out a press release that they were not intending that to be mentioned. Bull crap, you were. But Khali interrupted Lana, which makes me hate Khali even more because I'm all about Lana. Mm-hmm. I tweeted a nice picture of her as well. I hope you saw that picture.
Yeah, I did. Very,
very nice.
Not as nice as the nipple slip, though.
We haven't even gone there. Let's hold off on that for a second. Hold that thought for a minute. But what I can say positive about this is Rusev still selling from the ankle lock last night. Man, that is great psychology. That is great old school wrestling. Rusev took a little step up in my book because he still sold the ankle, which made it, it sells Jack Swagger's ankle lock as being that strong that he still feels it 24 hours later. But Great Khali loses, surprise, to Rusev, and that was that. What other diva thing did we have tonight? You just were alluding to.
Yeah, apparently there was a boob slip.
Apparently, there simply was.
There was a boob slip. Hell, I retweeted the damn thing. So
I did
there
too.
was a boob slip, and it wasn't much, folks. I mean, it was enough. If you guys saw Eddie Murphy and Boomerang, there's this scene where Eddie Murphy and I can't think. I think it's Holly Berry and I can't think of the other girl, but they're in the production studio. And they're trying to figure out if they're watching this model that's doing this commercial for them, if they're seeing a piece of her nipple. And the guy that's mixing the video, he goes, "It's a nipple because I'm drooling." So, you guys kind of had to really stare to really see that nipple. And if you all want to see that picture, I'm not giving you no damn link. First off, you better be of legal age, okay? And if you are, then happy trails. But
I think that there was a tweet out after that comparing which was better, Nikki's malfunction tonight or the one from a couple years ago with Brie.
No, this one was better.
Brie's was full on exposed. I forgot how exposed she was. I mean, we had full penetration across the hemisphere.
I was a little disappointed though because it was like, I like being able to imagine. For me, it's like I like being able to walk down the street. I see a very beautiful woman. She's got a nice shape. Shout out to my BBW girls. I love BBWs too when y'all are shaped very nicely. But for me, the illusion, you just have me gone when I can see your thong in between your tight jeans and it's kind of like, well, so much for, imagining. And I must say I was a bit disappointed with Brie because when I saw the whole, I was expecting a meal. I wasn't expecting an appetizer.
But it's funny. My wife mentioned last night, did Nikki get those things enlarged? I'm like, I don't think so. And then, of course, her outfit just doesn't fit. But, she needs those extra tag team partners because she's always in these, handicap matches, and she wants to have some extra help.
Now, see, my friend, I thought you were getting ready to say she needs the help from other divas and all that because she always has these wardrobe malfunctions. So it's good when the screen goes to black for 10 seconds.
Well, I'm trying to figure out why the screen went black, and
I called it. I said 10 seconds, screen was black. I said there was a boob slip. I know it. And sure enough, let me ask you something. Let's get back on track, though. Aside from beautiful girls, where the hell does John Cena fit into this whole thing? He sees what's going on with his wife on a weekly basis. Why have we not seen John Cena say to the authority, hey, I don't appreciate what you're doing to my girlfriend / fiance. It's wrong, and if you don't stop, we're going to have some serious problems. Why haven't we seen the trigger get pulled?
I have no idea.
You know,
it's one of those things that makes no sense. Are we to pretend that they're not a couple? Is that the idea? We should pretend that John Cena and Nikki Bella are not dating, because we see it on Total Divas, but not in the WWE. It's like two different versions of the DC universe or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. John Cena, for crying out loud, there's nobody with more stroke than John Cena. He's the top guy. He should be able to say, excuse me. But no, he hasn't, and I don't. It's an oversight. It doesn't make sense.
Speaking of oversights and John Cena, Triple H would reveal the SummerSlam main opponent for John Cena, and I love how Titus set us up. Didn't we first hear the music of Randy Orton?
We did. The person he introduced was Randy Orton, and the Twitterverse, and there was this. I think the oxygen in the Miami arena actually left the arena because they're just, are you serious? And I had said at the beginning of the show, I'd love to see a swerve because everyone knows what's happening. I mean, for crying out loud, Paul Heyman is tweeting an empty chair on an airplane. We know what's going on. But yeah, Randy comes out, and Roman Reigns, out of nowhere, comes and takes out Randy Orton, which I think leads to their match at SummerSlam. And then we had WWE's version of the evil genius, and that's what Paul Heyman is. He truly is an evil genius. Come out and deliver what only a handful of people can do. Just a really nice promo to open it up and reveal that Plan C was the only option that Triple H had, and of course, Mr. Brock Lesnar shows up, and to the surprise of no one, is going to challenge John Cena at SummerSlam. And then we had the just a really long, a good promo by Paul Heyman.
Damn good one.
Promo. But I gotta say, the side effect to that promo was the complete and utter burial of the most loyal star they have had over the last 30 years. He buried the Undertaker. He said that the streak was a mirage. It didn't exist. It wouldn't prove that wasn't there. I really took a little bit of, and I remember, I'm a manager by trade. I'm all about the manager role. I was a little taken aback by that promo. They really seemed to bury Undertaker just to make Brock even badder than he already is. I didn't think it was necessary. But Brock is here, so I know you're excited.
I'm very excited, and I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see our boy.
Brock, I follow Brock Lesnar guy on Twitter. He didn't have great seats. He was up on the aisleway. If I'm Kevin Dunn producing the show, give me a hard shot on Brock Lesnar guy. He's on the aisleway there, but yeah, we didn't see him tonight, unfortunately.
Somebody else that we did not see, and we gotta give a shout out to our good pal Ellis Imba, who made the shocking face when Undertaker lost at WrestleMania this year. I noticed how when they were showing the faces during the little vignette recap of Brock Lesnar defeating Undertaker, they didn't show Ellis. I guess they felt that Ellis had got enough publicity.
He's got it 15 minutes. It's time for somebody else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
tell us about the great Brock Lesnar and what he's gonna do to save us from John Cena.
Well, apparently Brock Lesnar is going to save us from John Cena by pounding him into a bloody pulp, and is going to take away that WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I love how Paul Heyman had did his own rendition of his Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and in this case, Brock Lesnar.
No, it's Brock Lesnar. You gotta say it right.
I was telling my girl about this before we came on the air, right? And there's just something about the way Paul Heyman says Brock Lesnar. Like, just picture you have a nice family cookout, and you're hooking up the burgers on the grill, and you look at Paul Heyman and you go, Paulie, hey Paulie, how you like your burgers, man? Brock Lesnar. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with the burgers, but
You want a hot dog? I am the one behind the one in 21 and 1. Yeah, but do you want mustard? Yeah, he's got one line going right now.
It's insane, man. It's insane. It's golden how Brock Lesnar, he just bounces up and down like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like just buying into the hype.
Say something stupid, Paul. Say something stupid.
Yeah, say something stupid, Paul. Yeah, it's just awesome. I mean, we know when it counts the most, Brock Lesnar, he can deliver some pretty memorable promos. But I mean, when you got a guy like Paul Heyman, just let him do his thing.
I don't think Brock could promo himself out of a bag. Yeah. I don't think he's not a promo guy whatsoever. His most memorable things are, not for his great promo, but oh my God, he actually said that type of thing. I'm not, as you can tell by my voice, I'm not too excited about Brock Lesnar. And
tell the folks why.
And I'm going to be consistent. Okay, that's the word. The word of tonight, kids, is consistency. I bashed the return of The Rock. He ruined WrestleMania, in my opinion, between John Cena and The Miz. The main event at WrestleMania was about not the match, but about The Rock, who will wrestle a year from now against John Cena, which we didn't know at that time. For everyone out there who yells CM Punk, why did Phil Brooks allegedly leave? Because he was tired of part-timers, Batista, coming in and getting big spots. So if you're cheering CM Punk because he left because of those reasons, then you should be booing Brock Lesnar tonight. And you're not. You're cheering him. Because your hatred for John Cena is so over the top that you're going to cheer the guy who works 20 dates a year, 24 dates a year, and gets $20 million. And then, of course, that $20 million could have spent to save 16 guys from losing their career who had a much better, who'd work every single night. It's the part-time. I'm tired of the part-time thing. I am. I'm tired of it. Jericho, cool, you're here, but why are you here? You're here to get a nice little, match with Bray Wyatt. I'm tired of it. So being consistent, I'm tired of Brock Lesnar and all the part-time guys coming back and stealing the spotlight from guys who need it.
Here's my only thing, and I would normally agree with you 100% on that. I do love the whole fact that, look, I'm one of those guys. I have my moments when it comes to part-timers. I do. I appreciate what guys like Chris Jericho has done, what Undertaker has done, what The Rock has done. I appreciate what all those part-timers have done. At the same time, there is that part of me that is saying, okay, come on now. These are taking up spots from the guys that have been on the road all year round. They've done all the PR.
300 days.
Right. It's, toss them the crumb. Give it to them. They've proved themselves deserving. At least look at it this way. If you've never tested them on the grandest stage of them all, at least you can test them that one time. And if they aren't able to deliver, then you know what? At least you can say we gave them an opportunity. They kind of choked. They didn't really seize the moment. So we're going in this route instead. And I could appreciate that argument as long as the effort is made to make the attempt happen, all right? With Brock Lesnar, I'm not so quick to jump on it and say, okay, part timer, here's what's going to happen, because I'm looking a couple of months down the road. I'm hoping that by the return of Brock Lesnar and by Brock Lesnar being in that title picture, and then thinking back to what Triple H had said earlier in the night before all this even began, he said, I guarantee at SummerSlam we're going to have a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. John Cena is not going to be champion anymore. I'm hoping that the domino effect really is SummerSlam, we get Brock Lesnar as the new champion. Then comes the bigger question. Okay, now Brock is the champion. What does this mean for the Authority? Is he going to play ball nicely with the Authority? Is he officially on the Authority's payroll? Can they basically coexist? Or is Brock Lesnar going to continue to be this rogue type of beast? You know, he does what he wants, when he wants. What's going to happen? Because further down the road, think about the rub-off, Titus, and this is why I'm hoping that some type of a new deal has been worked out. If both sides were able to agree on money, Brock Lesnar, by God, let him have that championship belt all the way until WrestleMania if you want. But let the end result be Roman Reigns defeats Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar will be defeating, Roman Reigns will be defeating a man that has defeated The Undertaker, that conquered the streak. Here's a guy that went past Undertaker. Here's a guy that went past the 15-time champion, John Cena. And between all that, you can have Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble, all that. That's the rub-off that I'm hoping will happen. If not, Titus, if not, and it's a situation where Brock Lesnar, he goes to SummerSlam basically just to put over John Cena, I think that's a waste of John Cena. You don't do all this hype, I think. You don't do all this build-up of constantly mentioning week after week, oh, Brock Lesnar was the one that conquered the streak. You don't do all this hype just to have him try to put over John Cena for a one-shot match and then he disappears until next year.
Oh, agree. I mean, he's clearly going to win the title. You know, it's funny how the world works. I mean, there are a lot of people. I was one that was so pissed off that he ended the streak. You give the streak to a guy who doesn't work but 24 dates a year, and he's a part-timer, and da-da-da-da-da, but now we're all happy to have him come back, and let's not forget how he exited this company 8 years ago, laying the biggest egg WrestleMania has really ever seen. He and Bill Goldberg put on the crappiest match ever at a WrestleMania. Ever.
Their hearts were not into that.
Their hearts were they were already gone out the door. That's how he left. So he actually crapped on the business, in my opinion, because he didn't give 100% there. I'm okay with Chris Jericho coming back. I accept it because Chris Jericho has given so much to professional wrestling. I'm okay with The Rock because, my God, he's The Rock. Okay, I'm okay with that. I would like the spotlight to be less on them and more on the new talent. Brock has not given this great life to professional wrestling. He had a good short run. He left crappy, and he went to go play football for the Minnesota Vikings. That didn't work, so he decided, well, now what am I going to do? Now I'm going to be a UFC fighter. And that didn't work out very well for him. He UFC champion, but most of the time he was unable to defend his title because he was ill. And now he's come back to WWE because he has the perfect work schedule, man. I'll work 24 days and make a ton of flipping money, and Sable's at home counting it. So that's my argument. If he's back, be back. To be WWE champion, you have to make sure you're on Raw. 52 weeks, you got to be on them 48. You get a few weeks here and there, take some time off. That was my argument with The Rock being the title. Are you serious? The Rock, he defended the title once. He defended it once from Royal Rumble to the WrestleMania, and people were pissed that day. The Rock took the title from CM Punk, and it's funny how we act in this business. It's all okay because it's anti-Cena. How would people feel today if it was Daniel Bryan? Because remember, without a shoulder problem, the chances are it'd be Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Now, how do people feel when Daniel Bryan's going to drop the title to Brock Lesnar instead of John Cena? Now it's a totally different story. Now the internet wrestling community has a different problem. Because he's hurt, he's not doing it, it's Cena, it's okay now.
I tell you what, it's going to be a totally different conversation if Brock Lesnar loses to Cena at SummerSlam.
Oh, agreed.
It's going to be, I mean, you just can't. You cannot, in this circumstance, you cannot have Brock Lesnar lose.
Agreed.
You just can't, because
you've invested the time, energy, and money into it. Yeah, at this point, you have to. There has to be that payoff. You have to. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, and it's stupid to do, and it's a waste of everything. You're absolutely right.
I hope that WWE and Lesnar came to some type of a new agreement. They tacked on more dates, whatever. I'm really hoping that's the case if they're going to make this move, because I agree with you 100%. There's just no way you can have a new WWE champion in a Brock Lesnar, and we're only going to see him with the title once a month. That's not really going to work for fans. They want to see who the champion is. That's how most people are able to identify as they're flipping through the channels of their favorite wrestling shows, and it's like, yeah, oh, hey, this guy's on. Okay, great. We're talking about champions too, by the way. I like how quietly they did not acknowledge John Cena.
Not once.
Not once. Didn't say he was off filming a movie or he's resting up from a little bit of minor injuries that he had at the pay-per-view. It was just like he didn't exist. Yet, we did know that he's going to be involved in a SummerSlam main event. And I can't help but wonder what's going to happen next week, Titus, because it's not like they said John Cena returns next week.
Rumor has it that he will be gone next week, filming still this train wreck movie. So, will Brock be on? Probably so. Will Brock be wrestling? No. You don't see Brock lace up the boots until SummerSlam, which is another argument. How can your number one contender be a guy who hasn't wrestled since April? He hasn't wrestled in April. So it's my problem with it's my problem. It's mine, and I'll own it. It's my problem with the part-time working situation. And like I said, I understand these guys. I mean, Undertaker's the ultimate part-time worker. But you know what? When everybody was, jumping ship and moving around, and he was always so loyal, and so was Shawn. I don't say he was the only one, but the Undertaker, he has a special wing of the WWE Hall of Fame that's just for him. So if he wants to work once a year, work WrestleMania, and keep on the streak, great. But now the streak's over. Does it really matter if he comes back or not? So this whole part-time thing bothers me to some degree. A lot of these guys bust their ass and travel, and the life of a professional wrestler is not easy. And you're going from one show to the next. You're renting the car. You're paying the gas. You're spending, $100,000 in hotel and travel expenses a year, and you made $100,000 in profit. So you're not getting rich if you're on that lower end of the card. I mean, I don't know how Zack Ryder's doing what he does, because he shows up every freaking week and he doesn't do anything, and it's hard. And then you've given one more spot to a guy like Lesnar. That's my issue. That's what I wasn't excited to see Brock walk out 2 years ago and give the F5 to John Cena. Cool. But then you sit back and you go, well, how can we bitch about Ziggler not getting pushed when the spotlight's moved away from them onto this guy? That's all.
Very valid points.
And John Cena and Brock Lesnar are not going to make a great match. Main event's not going to be great.
Not unless they make it a gimmick match. I mean,
and look at Lesnar and Taker. Taker can wrestle with anybody. And Lesnar is not a great wrestler. Never was. He had moments of brilliance, but he's not a great worker. And he and Taker did not put on a great WrestleMania match. Him and Cena didn't put on a good match, a year earlier when they were doing their little program a year before that. It's not going to be a great match. So don't have your you shouldn't have your hopes up about this is going to be no, it's going to be a fight. John Cena is not going to bleed. Sorry, PG. He's not going to. He's not going to do any color for this match. It's going to be okay. The rest of the card has to come for SummerSlam. You got to bring Stephanie and Brie Bella. You're going to have AJ and Paige. You're going to have Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. The rest of the card damn well better be good because the main event's going to be moderate at best. And God, I hope they surprise me. I hope they do, but I don't expect it to be.
Yeah. On that note, let's see what you guys have to say. We hope you're enjoying the recap and review so far. We're going a little bit all over the place. Make sure, as always, those of you that check us out every single week, if you're enjoying it, give it a thumbs up. Keep those comments coming. Share this a number of ways. You know all the ways to do it. Google+, Facebook, retweet it, all right? Let's see what we got coming up right here, Titus. A lot of good comments coming in, too, from what I saw. There's one that kind of jumped out at me the most, though. It was a series of comments by somebody. Let's take it from the bottom, and we'll work our way to the top here. Jay Burns. So in the last 3 years, with buy rates being low, the ratings being low, who is to blame? Is it the fans, or is it the bullshit? Yes, folks, I did say that. Bullshit product we are getting. That people are getting tired of. I want to answer that first. Titus, I definitely want to send it to you. Spend as much time as you want on it. But I think it's a combination of a couple of things, Jay Burns. One is the fact that, let's be for real, the economy the past several years now, it's been in a little bit of a rough shape. I mean, you go into your local grocery store now, at least over here, I don't know how it is for you guys, but just a loaf of bread is like, God, $2.75, almost $3, okay? Wrestling, it's not as booming as it used to be, and I'm only talking about it from the standpoint of a fan, and I'm checking out the various promotions, and I'm not counting people, that show up at these events, but I just notice it off the break, and, for me, it's a combination of that, and at the end of the day, it does come down to the type of content that a wrestling promotion is putting out, whether or not it's the right type of content that is fitting all the age demographics. It's meeting all those respected target audiences. So that's really how I would answer your question with regards to the buy rates. And let's be for real. With today's society, this isn't like 1994, 1995. I mean, just imagine how it was back then as a true wrestling fan. You didn't have websites and you didn't have shows like ours. You didn't have anybody, okay, so look, this is what's going on. You didn't have all that great insight into what's going on behind the curtain, okay? Nowadays, you can go online, WWE Raw, blah, blah, blah. You can find out results for shows. You got the Instagram. Social media has really, really just been, like, explosive. There's really, Titus, I don't know if you agree with me with this, buddy, but it's really hard to surprise the wrestling community because we're in a day and age where you want the information, you want it right then and there on the spot, and unfortunately, you're kind of able to get that. So it's a combination of a lot of things. And for you to actually ask that question with regards to the pay-per-view buy rates, what did Titus just say 40 minutes ago? He said the fact that we've got illegal streamers that are uploading pay-per-views, they're uploading shows, it doesn't help. It makes matters worse. That's why we always say to you guys, if you really want to show the ultimate support to a wrestling product, don't do the illegal streams. I mean, Titus, I don't know if it was like this in your household, buddy, but growing up, hey, are you gonna watch SummerSlam at y'all's house? Oh, awesome. Well, I want to watch it too. Could I like maybe put down $10, $15 and that could like take care of the food or whatever? Maybe that can like go towards the cable, for the pay-per-view for ordering it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
me and like 3, 4 friends would get together and we would just rotate and we would just do it like that. That way the sting didn't hurt so bad. There's not that many people that do that nowadays. Now
Well,
it's
it was always, you see it in the indies all the time. You get guys having WrestleMania parties. I did it all the time. Come to my house, we'll have, the typical Titus Nacho bar over there in the dining room, and everybody just hang out together. Yeah, that's you do those things. But to steal for a second, I'm gonna. Everything you said, the economy, the is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Can't argue that. The internet is a destructive force because on one side, you see people say, there's never any surprises anymore. Oh, what does this www.dirt sheet say about the show tonight? Well, I try hard to avoid dirt sheets. And I block people, just so you people know, I'll block you if you throw me a spoiler. I want to be surprised. I'm a fan. I want to go, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. But let me tell you, this is why the biggest difference between today and, the content before. You're comparing the Attitude Era to this era. And I lived the Attitude Era. I was a fan of WWE before the Attitude Era. And when you talk about a roster with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, The Big Show, Eddie Guerrero, Kane, Christian, Edge, The Hardy Boys, Vince McMahon, Bret Hart, that roster was just the WWE roster. Tell me that roster exists today, because it doesn't.
No.
Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder don't get looked at 10 years ago. They don't even get looked at. Thanks, kid. We got nothing for you. The fact that they're able to be... They don't. I mean, yell at me all you want, tweet me all you want. That roster I just told you was the roster of the Attitude Era. Nobody... The majority of people, even John Cena, probably doesn't get booked on. This is an all-star lineup, and that's just WWE. WCW had another strong lineup with Nash, Hall, Hogan, Sting, Flair. It was the greatest time to be a wrestling fan. You cannot compare buy rates of the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars, to 2014. Can't happen. Can't do it. It's like comparing the 20s Yankees to the teams to not the same. 20s Yankees were amazing, but in that day and era, you only had 7 or 8, 9, 10 teams. So it's not fair comparison. It's not fair, and it does a disservice to the guys today because they're busting their ass to make a good product, and to say the product sucks. There was no John Cena tonight. And it's, did the product suck? It didn't suck any less than it did last night, and John Cena was there last night. So.
Very valid points, my friend. Eric, in a pinch, if they can't do Sting and Taker, maybe Sting and Kane could work for one. I'm going to stop reading that right there. No, Eric, I love you. You usually comment. I'll keep going. Sting and Ambrose could also be entertaining, but all in all, I really want to see Sting and Taker at 31, and I want a build for it. I want WWE to hype it through the roof.
Well, they will. I mean, that's why you're seeing him on a video game. Vince is going to milk Sting for every drop he can get out of him. Sting Taker, obviously, is the first choice. I'll take Sting and Triple H. I'll take that. I'll take Sting and John Cena. I'll take that. Other than that, you got to go with what you said. It's got to be a rub onto a young kid. And it's awful hard to hype that.
It really is. See what else we got here. For some weird reason, Google Chrome had shut down and restarted, but I am looking at you all's comments right now. Let's go with Hellbound. Hey, Hellbound, you joined us last night, buddy. Appreciate the love. I really like everything with Dean Ambrose lately. What he did tonight reminds me of what Stone Cold used to do. Former Shield members seem to be bringing back some attitude to the WWE. Reigns with the awesome trash talking, and Ambrose is doing things you wouldn't expect of a babyface, but he makes it work. Same with Bray Wyatt being a heel with babyface characteristics. I think a little blurring of the lines is a good thing for the product.
Yeah, I agree. I agree fully. The problem with I want to go back to Bray is that it's too blurred. You can't, in one hand, talk like a baby face, and then the next word is talk like a heel. It's there's some confusion there with Bray, and I'm good with him either way. Make him a baby face. It doesn't work as well as the heel, but you're with the Shield. The minute those guys walked out and attacked Ryback 2 years ago, I was stoked because these guys, all three of them, were on my radar before they were on most guys' radar who watch WWE, don't watch stuff on the indies and all that kind of stuff. These guys are all three. They're the future of the WWE.
Yeah. By the way, another honorable mention, because I just saw somebody bring up Cesaro. Cesaro said that he's no longer a Paul Heyman guy. He said that he had severed ties with Paul Heyman. So
clearly the reason is that because Heyman's busy right now because his real client is there.
Exactly.
I was a little disappointed by the match between him and
Dean Ambrose, right?
Dean Ambrose, thank you. I just had a brain malfunction. That match is on paper
looks
tremendous.
Good. Yeah, it looks
on
good.
paper, it's tremendous. The match was good. It wasn't anything spectacular. I think they probably had too short of a time frame to work in. On a pay-per-view someday in the near future, that match is going to light it up. Tonight, good. Still, I think Ziggler Miz was better. Good match, but these two guys are going to make music together in the future.
Yeah. CM Punk fan 123. When do you think WWE will ever address the CM Punk situation, or was moving him from the active roster to the alumni roster all WWE is going to do about it? Well, CM Punk fan, in a nutshell, my man, they have been addressing CM Punk off and on during the past several weeks, several months. Hell, you could even say that some elements with tonight's segment between Stephanie and the Bella there, that kind of was inadvertently maybe a little bit of a knock at CM Punk, if you want to go there, saying quitter and things of that nature. So they have been acknowledging it. I mean, I don't know if maybe you're looking for some type of a press release. I don't think WWE is going to do that. They aren't. The fact that they did what they did with the 2 airings on the WWE network over the past 2 weeks, that's pretty much as close to them acknowledging CM Punk as you're going to get. It should be an interesting tale to see if, like Night of Champions and future Money in the Bank pay-per-views, if they mention CM Punk. You know, they didn't do it this go-round, but it should be an interesting tale to see how they go about it.
I think once you get the wound heals, next Money in the Bank, it'll be mentioned. You know, it was still fresh that he left, and Stephanie did address it. She said in Chicago on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk quit. You know, she had that statement. That's the statement you're going to get. They've parted ways. There's bad feelings and probably on both sides. Both sides feel just and right, and both sides are right and both sides are wrong. No one's absolved of any blame here. But CM Punk is gone. He's retired. And the thing is, he has the right to retire if he wants to. I don't like the way he did it, but he has the right to do so and live his life how he wants to.
Yeah.
CM Punk is gone. Phil Brooks lives on. And there's a separation there. We have to remember that CM Punk is a character in a story, and Phil Brooks has a life that he wants to lead. And he should be able to do that.
Yeah. Sometimes I pick up shades of Kurt Cobain in CM Punk. And I say that because there's not a day that goes by I don't think about Kurt Cobain. And Kurt Cobain, you grunge or rock fans know, the pressure just really got to him. He just couldn't live that type of lifestyle of being a celebrity, always in the spotlight. And everybody will say what they will about the whole conspiracy of his death and all that. But when it's all said and done, a life was taken. He couldn't handle the pressure. Whether or not he did it to himself, that's a entirely different other show. But the point that I'm making is sometimes I just wish that Kurt kind of had that same element that CM Punk has, which is, you know what, I'm a little fed up, I'm tired, I'm burnt out, I'm tired of this crap, I'm putting my foot down, you know? I respect anybody that does that, and this much I will say, and I've said it before, and I don't really want to say it again, so those of you that's like, are you and Titus going to do a CM Punk special? No.
No.
This is as close as we're going to get to it. Who hasn't been there with an employer? They're not feeling what's happening. They feel like a little bit of discrimination is going on. You know, they feel like you're going to say, you know what, depending on the employer, you're going to say, you know what, F this. I'm better than this. I deserve better. I'm going to roll the hell out. Okay? You're not going to pick up the phone in a couple of weeks or a couple of months later after you found new employment elsewhere and go, I feel that I owe you guys an explanation as far as why I had quit. Let me just tell. No, life goes on. Bye-bye. You're not thinking about that previous employer, and that's exactly what CM Punk has done. So for those that's like, oh, you know, he deserves to give an explanation. No, he doesn't. He doesn't owe anybody an explanation except to himself and his soon-to-be wife, AJ Lee, if they aren't already married already. Those are
the thing that is that fans have to realize is that, you know, he didn't feel it was necessary to address them and say, fans, thank you for your support, but he didn't do that. He just left.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's awful. It's cool that you miss him and that you chant for him, but he's not telling you, I miss you guys.
Exactly.
He's not. Because he doesn't. Because it's a job. You were just, you know, he said it. I'm just a spoke in the wheel, and he is. He's just a spoke. They pulled his spoke out. They'll put a new spoke in. That spoke was Daniel Bryan.
It's really hard for me to watch that new Best in the World. Well, it's not new anymore, but it's really hard for me to watch his Best in the World DVD because as I'm watching it, I mean, from the minute that it comes on and you see the little captioning in his own words, I love the guy, but I can't help but go, hypocrite, hypocrite, hypocrite. I cringe when I watch it now. I can't even watch it now. You know, because so many things that he says, I can't make changes sitting on my ass. You know, I got to go out there, and if I want to change the system, I got to be a part of it. You know, I'm no good at home. And, you know, well, you just took your ball, and we can't speak for him. None of us really know what's happening in his mind. The closest that we may ever get to really knowing, Titus, what has gone down with CM Punk, what led him to go away from the WWE, is if he does a shoot interview or if he does his own podcast and he addresses it. But other than that, guys, move on, please. I'm begging you, because you're just going to make yourselves go crazy.
And he has.
Yeah.
He's moved on.
Yeah. Whiston, Flo Rida, and that chick was auto-tuned. Yeah, they did kind of sound like that.
I just got a vote on my website. Thank you to the guy who says I should quit now and go home. Guess what? I'm not. I'm here as long as Lee Sanders wants me here.
Yeah, how was the results, man? Share the results with
The results were very positive. That was the only. That was the only person that I've had to say they weren't happy with me on the show. So results are very positive that that I'm on here, and I'm happy to be here. And it was better than the first time I was on the show. I was trying to get a gig with another company. I'm glad I didn't get that gig. I think this one pays better. Because that company don't pay crap.
You see, it goes back to what I was saying. It's like you got one employer or whatever, and can you get a shout out, please? You can get a shout out if I see that you post consistently enough. Since I'm looking at your name for the first time, I don't recognize you. Sorry, but you know who you are, so at least I did kind of acknowledge you. Philip, I like the whole thing with Brie Bella and Stephanie McMahon, and how she got arrested on Raw tonight, and I was going crazy. Man, was I happy that Paige turned heel and attacked AJ Lee after that Divas tag match. I did enjoy the match between Dean Ambrose versus Cesaro. Both fan of these guys. Do you think at SummerSlam it might be Roman Reigns? Well, we already answered that question. See, we can go with two more. Where was Cena? We already addressed that. Weston, I understand Raw is a PG show, but I would have liked for WWE to let the Divas show a little of their sexy side every now and. I gotta stop you right there. What do you call what Lana, or correction, Layla and Summer Rae was doing, dancing on the announcers table, even though that was some poor dancing they were doing last week. Then you got Lana, you get some nice eye candy right there. Then you got the few matches that you do see with the Divas. They're wearing some really nice attire. If you watched Battleground last night, you would have saw strippers wrestling one another.
What the question is, what are you looking for? Bra and panty matches? Because if that's the case, then you're not going to get that. Those days are gone. Those are over. And if that were the day that Vince puts a bra and panty match on, my wife bans WWE around my 10-year-old son, and rightfully so. What you see, and it maybe comes along with age, Lee. You said it earlier. I like a lot to the imagination. We don't need the bra and panties. You don't need the puppies flying out because I don't want to see puppies. I can just leave my office and go upstairs. Leaving it to the imagination is a hell of a lot sexier. Lana is very conservative from the waist up. She has those really nice legs, and that is sexy. Very, very sexy. And I think it's a great amount of sex. It's better than it was just a few years ago. They've really kind of opened it up a little bit more than it was.
Tim, hello, buddy. Tim, long-time follower. That's good to do it. I really don't see any much else. I love it when there's not that many. There's a lot of comments, but it's stuff that we already talked about, questions that we've already covered. So on that note, well, wait a minute. One more new. Let me see. No, wait. Scott, you could see Bree set up for the slap. Miz talking to Dolph. A lot of oops. You got to clean that up. I don't know what you're talking about. Clean it up, my friend. All right, so that's it. Show's over. I thank you guys so much for staying up late with us. We are going to be doing a Tuesday night radio edition of the RCWR show. And as far as where we're going to be airing that, I had such great fun on Spreaker last week. And the numbers are very positive, by the way. I mean, we still got love on Blog Talk and all of that, despite the hiccups that their servers are going through. But to my knowledge, their servers are continuing to experience problems. Titus, I'm glad you have nothing to do with Blog Talk Radio right now.
I tell you what, when I had my radio show back in the day, I love Spreaker. It's a wonderful user interface. The only thing I wish they had was the ability to have that call in that Blog Talk has.
Exactly. So join us on Spreaker. We're going to be coming on at 10 p.m. Eastern, live on Spreaker. Those of you that want to check us out on the downloads, I mean, my God, you got the Spreaker app, you got the iHeartRadio app. We still are on iTunes and all that. We'll release it to Blog Talk. It'll just be like a couple of days late. So if you want it hot and fresh and ready to go, like Little Caesars, check us out on Spreaker. Well, later tonight, actually. Titus, do some cheap plugs, man. Send us on home.
Oh, let's see. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at the Twitter at Evil Genius Titus. Of course, you can follow me on Facebook, Mr. Titus Machiavelli, TitusMachiavelli.com. You can find me all there. Lee, you want to throw out the I'm still learning though, so the show's social media stuff.
Oh yeah, RCWR show on Twitter, Facebook, Infinity One Productions. You got to put the actual E in there, spell out the actual one, so Infinity One Productions. We really did a nice job of putting all the links down below, so help yourself, pick your poison, I always say. And if you're new, you haven't subscribed to us yet, you really should. We do some really great stuff for you, like we did here tonight. We also do some really great reviews, breaking news. We got a little bit of something for everybody, so poke your head, subscribe. You'll
vote on iTunes. That helps with people finding us too.
Yes, iTunes, definitely Stitcher. Show the love if you like our content. Like Titus said, definitely represent, because it really does help more people discover our content. He's Titus Machiavelli. Titus, man, once again, another home run, man.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy it. We've got a few of these down now, and we're getting better at it, even though it's we're in overtime tonight.
Yeah, we're in overtime. I was thinking about it. I got to talk to you off air. We got episode 375 coming up, and I'm just so tempted to just really, really go all over the place with you on one of these live shows. I got to pick your brain, and we can see if maybe we can get the fans involved in it somehow. But I'm looking at episode 375 coming up, folks, and I could definitely use some ideas. Because you know what that means. You got 375. That means you're 15 away from 400. But 375, that's a nice little milestone. So get you guys thinking and talking on some cool stuff that we can do. But that's going to do it. He's Titus Machiavelli, Lee Sanders here, wishing you all a very good night, good morning. Please be safe and be kind to one another. We'll see you next go-round. Everybody take care.
Good night.